Item number 2, councillors, in your package is the approval of the agenda, and you see 2.1, the possible addition, proposal for Mariner Centre expansion project. Councillor T. Cunningham, what is the wishes? Do you wish to have that added, or? Okay, consensus of fellow councillors? I'm not sure, a motion?
And the approval of the agenda will be as amended.
So, motion and, go ahead, second, go ahead.
So I'd like to make a motion to add the proposal for the Mariner Centre expansion project added to the agenda and the approval of the
Agenda,
agenda
as amended.
as amended.
Okay. Do we have a seconder for that? Seconded by Councillor LeBlanc. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded, motion carried. We'll add that under 6.2. Okay. Item number 3, declaration of any conflict of interest. Does any councillor see any conflict at this time? If something does arise, you can declare it, but if there's anything at this time? Hearing none, I will move on to item number 4, the approval of the minutes. You have those in your package: June 26th regular meeting, June 26th the public transcript meeting, July 4th committee of the whole, and July 4th special council meeting minutes. What is the wishes? Oh, Councillor LeBlanc, go ahead.
I move for the approval of minutes, June the 26th, 2019, regular meeting minutes, June 26, 2019, public transcript meeting minutes, July 4th, 2019, committee of the whole minutes, and July 4th, 2019, special council meeting minutes.
Been moved by Councillor LeBlanc. Do we have a seconder for that?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Councillor Allen. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded, motion carried. Thank you very much. Item number 5, warden's remarks. They're not long. Just for that, I'll add the extra 3 pages. It's always good to have humor, eh? Makes everything go so much easier. And this is how I start off. I'll keep it short. Good evening. Wise to see you watching me. The month of July, as we all are well aware, is a very active month in Yarmouth County, and especially also for the municipality of Yarmouth. July 1st always brings your July 1st celebrations and festivities, fireworks, special times on the waterfront or over at the Cape Fershu Light Station. And similarly, through a lot of our communities, Melbourne, up in Forest Glen, and so on, there's a lot of activities go on July 1st. I hope everybody had the opportunity to go out and enjoy them. Councillor Cushion was over at the Cape Fershu and done a welcoming there and so on. I appreciate it. I was on the town waterfront and so on. A large crowd there also. I took the opportunity later in the day, and I think I've already mentioned it, but I'll mention it to the public, that I did get over to the Cape Fershu late in the afternoon. It was around 1:30 or so. But I was surprised. There were still a lot of people, and I had the opportunity a little later in the day to talk to some people from BC. And I kind of like, why? They were traveling Nova Scotia. They were from BC, and they had done a big loop of Nova Scotia and so on. And right now they were in the Cape, and they were enjoying the view and the scenery and the festivities over there. So people do travel, and I appreciate it very much. They took that opportunity to be there. Also, in the month of July, the Heartland Tour, which has been coming to Yarmouth for the last number of years, and they do quite a bicycle loop within Yarmouth County and so on. And every year they change the route, but one of the things that they have always done since day one is go to Cape for Shoe. And again, Councillor Cushing, thank you very much for bringing greetings from the municipality to that group and so on, because they really enjoy the scenery going over there. They enjoy the festivities and so on that take place. And when I was doing up my report, I have, this past week, I was reading in the paper, there is another bicycle rally or bicycle ride, and it's in September 22nd, and it's the Grand Fondue in Clare. And that is quite a ride. That brings in over around 1,000 participants in that ride, and they have a lot of different courses and so on, or routes that they do there. And I just want to put that plug in. That has grown every year, and they have quite a festivity out of that also. So on. A few of us as councillors in the CAO and the executive assistant met with Natural Resources at the Port Maitland Provincial Beach Park. Our request to them was for some improvements to that area. They will do some small retrofits, I guess, to the picnic tables and a few other items, but there's nothing in their budget to make any major repairs or improvements at this time. But it's something that we can keep working with them. There is different avenues they brought forward, the Rick Hansen funding and so on, and the municipality may be able to assist on some things there. Last evening, we also had the opportunity for the town of Yarmouth, the municipality of Yarmouth and Argyll, to meet with Natural Resources again to discuss the deer issue that is happening in the town of Yarmouth, but also to a small degree what's happening in Argyll and in Yarmouth County with the amount of deer. And our discussion that we had with them was, I thought, was really good. Our questions were answered fairly well. And basically what came out of the discussion, there is nothing that Natural Resources can do directly, but they can assist with doing surveys and giving information to the municipal units pertaining to what may be helpful for residents to plant and not plant that won't attract deer and so on, how to protect your landscaped area and so on. So we all agreed that that was a starting point. Educating the general public, don't feed the deer under no circumstances, is a major thing. Yes, they look cute, they're nice and so on. You like to get them in your backyard to take pictures and so on, but that only teaches them that there's food available and so on. So don't feed. But that's something I believe, Victoria, we're going to be putting on our website and so on, that kind of information in the near future.
That's right, we'll have a light education campaign. We'll probably use information around FAQs that the town of Truro developed for their pamphlet.
Yes. Yeah. So I think that'll be coming out in the early fall. Just to give my fellow councillors, the Mariner Centre Expansion Steering Committee has forwarded the proposal to both the MLA and the MP. And we had a meeting yesterday. And our discussion was we're going to be trying to set up a meeting with both the MLA and the MP in the near future to have some forward information on how to go forward with that proposal and so on. For those of you that haven't had the opportunity in the general public, if you get the opportunity, take a drive out to our business park. There has been some activity going on there, and hopefully here in the very near future that there'll be 2 businesses opening up out there, which will add quite a little bit to the park, and hopefully that will create more activity and so on. That's, we've also been aware that the month of July has been very warm, extremely warm. Something that I was reading on, it came today from the AMAs, is about hydration. Make sure that you drink plenty of fluids and so on when you're out in the sun. And I got thinking, yes, that's good for me, but my little 5-year-old grandson, he can't read that. So it's important that our that we as parents make sure that the kids are hydrated and so on when you go to the beach, and that they have the sunblock and so on. Time can go by pretty quick, and you may not think of it, and little kids don't want always to have a drink of water or whatever, but that is important. This past month also, we seen Seafest here this past week, but the car show that ended off Seafest week was, I believe, an extreme beyond success for Yarmouth. I talked to some business owners and so on, and it was, they were parked up John Street and Grand Street this year and so on. It was amazing and so on. And for the young people, they see the old cars, but they like to see the new ones. But when I went through and seen some of the older cars, the old Galaxies and the old Thunderbirds and so on, I thought maybe they were cars. They're, as I said to somebody, they have metal in them. They're not plastic or fiberglass, but they look nice. And full kudos to the organizing committee that done that. It is a great thing for Yarmouth, the town of Yarmouth, and for Yarmouth County. Brings a lot of people in, and some of those people stay. So congratulations to that organization for doing that. We had Rib Fest that was just out at Mariner Center here a few weeks ago also. It goes to show that people do love a barbecue, don't they? Chicken and pork, and people still enjoy that. And one of the biggest parts of that, I believe, is the socializing. They have the opportunity to see their friends and so on. And I think all those things are very important. Last but not least, the Western Nova Scotia exhibition is on in the final week, July 31st to August 3rd. To get to meet some of your old friends and so on. My last part of this, please be careful and watch for our children, but please enjoy the summer. Thank you. My question to my fellow councillor, was that short enough, sir, or too long? It was all right? Good. Item number 6, business arising. Recommendations from the Committee of the Whole. 6.1.1, Town of Yarmouth request for meeting, governance and or administration of municipal planning activities. The wishes of council, you have that in your package. All right. Go ahead, Councillor.
Well, I guess if we're looking for a motion, we've all went through, we talked about this at Committee of the Whole, and we all agreed that communication is an essential part to any relationship. Mm-hmm. So I think it's a great idea, so I guess I'm going to make a motion that our warden and CAO and deputy warden send off a letter to the town accepting an informal meeting to discuss our planning activities.
Okay. It's been moved by Councillor Allen. Do we have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Cushing. Was there any further discussion on that? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded? Motion carried. Thank you. Excuse me. 6.1.2, Violence in the Workplace Policy V-1068-19. You have that also in your Councillor Durkee.
I believe we're looking for a motion to approve the violence in the workplace policy V-1068-19.
Yes. You're making that a motion
Yes.
to accept.
Yep.
Been moved by Councillor Durkee, seconded by Councillor Allen. Is there any further discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. Thank you. 6.1.3, Yarmouth Shark Scramble Replica Project. You have in your package there information and so on. Councillor Allen.
I believe I'm going to declare a conflict of interest on this, as I have a family member that's on the board of the Shark Scramble.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Cunningham.
We discussed this issue at length at our Committee of the Whole, and I'll move approval of $1,500 as requested for the activities included in the request, and it is around a replica, life-size replica of Canadian record Mako shark, landed in 2004. So I think it will be a beautiful addition to to the community, so I'll move that.
Okay, been moved by Councillor Cunningham, seconded by Councillor LeBlanc. Was there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded, motion carried. Thank you. Would you let Councillor, okay. 6.1.4, Mariner Center budget, request for decision. You have that also. I think I have it here. There was recommendations, I think at our, Councillor Cunningham.
Yeah, I'll move that we, the Municipality District of Yarmouth approve the total Mariner Center capital spending requested from us in the amount of $36,605.50. And the details, there's a roof repair project in there, the Modi shares $17,175. And there's a need to replace 2 exterior and 1 interior doors in the entrance system. And the details around that, it is creating a danger. So there's a safety concern. So the money expended for that, Modi shares $19,430.50. So I'll move that in sum total we spend, we provide the Mariner Center with the $36,605.50 to do those upgrades.
It's been moved by Councillor Cunningham. Do we have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Allen. Was there any further discussion on that motion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded, motion carried. 6.1.5, Cape for Shoe Master Plan Steering Committee. You have that in your package also, councillors. What is your? Councillor Cushion.
I believe it's a it's a very good project, and I think we've discussed it at some length. Now, I'd like to be able to make that motion to have our CEO, instruct our CAO to honor the Cape for Shoe Comprehensive Master Plan request for proposals, and as outlined in that in this document.
You're making that a motion?
Yes.
Moved by
Yes, I am.
Councillor Cushion. Do we have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor LeBlanc. Was there any further discussion? Go ahead.
Just for clarification, Councillor Cushing, was your motion to approve the terms of reference for the steering committee
Yeah.
for that project?
Yes,
Thank you.
yes.
Question? Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded, motion carried. Thank you. 6.2, proposal for Mariner Center expansion project. Councillor Cunningham. Go ahead, Councillor.
Perhaps first I'd ask our CAO to give us an update of where the file is in terms of funding and the communication we've received from the province. And the reason I'm asking is that we have capital items, many of them, that we'd like to expend money on, but certainly in terms of getting approval. The Mariner Center project, of course, is among the very top of our items. It's part of our regional plan. The regional plans always included the airport, the ferry terminal and the Mariner Center, and looking forward to getting on with the Mariner Center project as soon as possible. So perhaps a little background before we discuss further.
Sure. So to provide context for anybody who might be viewing online and not sure exactly what this file is about, early in the spring, perhaps even in the late winter, we received word locally that there could be monies available through a federal funding stream for infrastructure projects that an expansion at the Mariner Center might fit within. At that time, some conversations were had with the Member of Parliament, Colin Fraser, and the Member of the Legislative Assembly, Zach Churchill, around what to do because a call for applications wasn't open. And at that time, the municipalities of Argyle, the town of Yarmouth, and the municipality of Yarmouth were encouraged to consider developing a proposal for an expansion at the Mariner Center, which that fund could be used to provide federal and provincial dollars around, and then there would be municipal dollars to round out the budget. So this council appointed the warden and the deputy warden and myself to a steering committee, and we were accompanied by the mayor, the deputy mayor, and the CAO of the town of Yarmouth, the warden and the deputy warden and the CAO from the municipality of Argyle. Collectively, we worked with engineers, and we developed a proposal which had its foundation around some needs assessment and feasibility studies that had been conducted a few years ago in the community, about 3 years ago. That proposal developed into a visual plan and Class D estimates around aquatics, community spaces, and a field house, as well as an improvement to an outdoor track in the region. That proposal was completed and submitted to the MLA approximately 3 weeks ago, and it has been shared with the Member of Parliament as recently as a week ago. What we understand is that direction was, and this was completed, was to submit the application to the province of Nova Scotia through the typical infrastructure funding path. And we are given to understand that that proposal has been submitted, and it is being considered at the political level at this time.
Councillor Cunningham, go ahead.
So I'll move that I'll move that we write the MLA and our MP asking for a timeline around, potential funding for potential funding in terms of the partnership among the three levels of government to get the project on the go, what their thoughts are.
Is there any?
I just want to make sure what that motion was.
Just send a, I'm sorry, go ahead.
So maybe the motion's premature. I'm not certain. But they've received the information. So I guess my question is, when might we expect a response back? Maybe that's my question to the CAO.
So maybe, Mr. Warden, do you want me to share?
Go ahead,
the-
what we
okay.
discussed.
So the steering committee did give Warden Anthony direction yesterday. He's the chair of the steering committee, and they did give him direction yesterday to request that the steering committee meet with the MP and the MLA to determine how we can support their efforts in moving the file forward. Because as I shared, it's being considered politically at this time. And so I think the warden is in the process of having that letter sent out. So it wouldn't be that we would be inviting the MP and the MLA to come and meet with us. We would be requesting to go see them and meet with them and determine how to lobby and advocate for the project in order to move it forward.
Go ahead, Councillor.
So I was a little bit unclear about that issue. This is, I think, somewhat new to me. But so the steering committee is going to be meeting with the MLA and MP, correct?
Together, yeah.
Requesting that,
That request hasn't happened.
No, we came up.
that direction was yesterday.
Was yesterday. Okay, so great. So obviously, the motion I was entertaining or beginning to entertain is.
We're working on it.
You're working on it. You're gonna do the very same thing at that level. Okay, very good. Thank you.
Okay. The other thing that was discussed at that meeting was to come up with a PowerPoint presentation of the project. And that won't be ready, hopefully, or I'll say, by the time we have a meeting, hopefully very soon with the MLA and the MP. But then as soon as we get a PowerPoint done, that maybe they can set up some meetings with the ministers provincially and so on, that we can take that and start getting support that way to move forward. Go ahead, Councillor.
It's just good to hear, because I think I know where Councillor Cunningham's come from. There's a lot of excitement in the air, a lot of excitement around this project in our area, and people are wondering what's going on. So, yeah, it's any little tidbit information that we can give them, the happier they are.
Yeah, and we'll be putting out a press release here real shortly onto it. Go on, okay. Okay, item number 7, new business. 7.1, your June development report, you have that in your package and so on. Go ahead, Counselor.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to accept our June development report as circulated.
Been moved by Counselor Allen. Do we have a seconder for that? Seconded by Counselor LeBlanc. Was there any further discussion on the motion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded? Motion carried. Seven point two, correction to the Yarmouth fire rate as reflected in the May 22nd, 2019 council minutes. If you read down through those minutes, you will see in the fire rates that each one of the fire departments submitted, the Yarmouth fire rate for part of the municipality of Yarmouth was in the minutes as 11 cents per hundred. It's supposed to be 16 per hundred. Whether it was a typo, misinterpreted, whatever. So I need a motion to remedy the 11, 16. Go ahead.
So just with respect to the wording of the motion that I'm looking for to correct the record, because the minutes had previously been approved, the wording of the motion, excuse me, would be to amend the minutes of May 22nd, 2019, which were previously adopted, to accurately reflect the Yarmouth fire rate at 16 cents per hundred as opposed to 11 cents per hundred.
Somebody wish to make that motion?
Well-
Councillor Cunningham?
Yeah, I'll move that Municipality District Yarmouth amend the May 22nd, 2019 minutes as previously adopted to reflect the correct fire rate that was adopted as 11 cents. It should have been stated as 16. I'll move that.
Been moved by Councillor Cunningham, seconded by Councillor Allen. Was there any further discussion? Go
Just
ahead.
before the question's called, Mr. Chair, I do want to clarify that when the budget was set and the tax bills were sent out, it was done at the correct rate, 16 cents.
Question?
Question being called. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded? Motion carried. Thank you very much. 7.3, Provincial Airport Strategy. Councillor Trevor Cunningham, you have that in your package. Councillor, you have the floor.
Right. It's a Chronicle Herald story that piqued my interest. There was a councillor in HRM that talked about the possibility of a provincial airport strategy in light of potential construction of a new airport, I guess adjacent to the Cape Breton golf club that's Cabot Links. Yeah. So in any event, I want to talk about the merits of that project. I'm not that familiar with the project and the positives and negatives and all that type of thing that people are talking about. But what I will say is the idea of a provincial airport strategy, I think is a good one, because we have an airport here in Yarmouth that certainly is I guess it's important in terms of safety. It's important in terms of future economic activity in the area. It's a tremendous asset. But having said that, it's also relatively expensive for the 3 municipal units who co-own it through the Airport Corporation to maintain. And it also, in terms of depreciation of the airport surface, the airways and so forth, that there's a lot of certainly deferred maintenance, I'll say that there. And it's an issue. And I think through a provincial airport strategy, that we could maybe partner with the other airports, come up with some ideas to, I guess, essentially make it even more viable than it is today. So just wanted to bring that to people's attention, and perhaps we could talk about that moving forward and advocate for that at the provincial level, at the Nova Scotia Federation of Municipalities, that take place. So when the resolutions come forward, I think we should talk about a resolution to Nova Scotia Federation of Municipality around that, discuss the possibility of forwarding that, and also talking about it maybe with the province, doing a little bit more research and finding out how that could advantage us.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the Chronicle Herald article that is included in your package has some language that I particularly like as an administrator. To quote the article, it reads, and this would be the words of Wei Mason, the
President,
deputy mayor,
but he's the president.
deputy mayor of the president of the
President,
NSFM.
yes,
The article reads, "It's our position that funding for this project in Inverness should be paused, and other levels of government should engage with municipalities and other stakeholders to develop and fund a provincial airport strategy." The article goes on, "This strategy should focus on building on current successes and ensuring that investments are made fairly across the province that maximize the benefit to all residents and communities." And that type of language around an airport strategy is important, because we have successes at the Yarmouth Airport around the services that are provided there with respect to healthcare, with respect to search and rescue, with respect to some small private industry. So I'm particularly interested to see how this initiative moves forward, given that's the language around the suggestion. Currently, our airport does not qualify for the federal funding because we don't have scheduled passenger service.
Councillor Cushion?
With the information Trevor has provided through the Chronicle Herald and the words from our CAO, is there something we can do to try to put up front that we're in favor of this to proceed? Are we in favor? We're in support of what Mr. Mason has said.
So a file like this, it would never hurt, in my opinion, to write a letter to the Premier,
There you go.
possibly carbon copy the Minister of Business, as well as the President and CEO of Nova Scotia Business Inc. and the President and CEO of Develop Nova Scotia, highlighting the impact that a strategy like that could have for Nova
Yes,
Scotia.
that's what I'm talking. Good.
Councillor Cunningham?
So I'll move that we write a letter to that effect, and I'd also like to have Mr. Mason copied on that as well, just as an addition. And also, I think maybe a separate letter to Mr. Mason, I'll make that all part of the motion, to make him aware of that we would like to participate in the development of such a strategy, or the initial conversation.
Been moved by Councillor Cunningham, seconded by Councillor Cushion. Was there any further discussion on that topic? Hearing none, question being called, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded, motion carried. Thank you very much again. Item 7.4 for approval, letter from Dr. Recruitment Committee. Councillor Durkee, was there anything you wish to? Go ahead.
In the last meeting, actually 2 meetings ago, the Doctor Recruitment and Retention Committee discussed the fact that that our doctors are paid less than other provinces, and so what we were recommending is that the Recruitment Committee send a letter to the Department of Health requesting that they look seriously at the salary scales of the medical professionals in Nova Scotia, which is stated in the letter. So we're looking for a motion to approve the letter.
For that, is there any questions or concerns from council? Do you understand, you had the opportunity to read the letter?
Thank you.
Been moved by Councillor Durkee, seconded by Councillor Allen. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
7.5, letter from the Western Nova Scotia Exhibition per the Mariner Center expansion project. And I'll speak to that. That letter came to the municipality of Yarmouth, and that letter should be, or should, I guess what we have it here is for this council to have it forwarded to the Mariner Center Expansion Steering Committee. Yes. Go ahead, Councillor Allen.
Well, this goes back to what we were saying earlier about the excitement in the air about the Mariner Center, possible expansion. So I'll make a motion that the letter given to us by the Yarmouth County Agricultural Society be forwarded on to the Mariner Center Steering Committee.
Thank you. Been moved by Councillor Allen, seconded by Councillor Cushion. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded? Motion carried. 7.6, letter from Mariner Center, the Jody Shelley induction to the Nova Scotia Sports Hall of Fame. You have that in your package. What is your wishes for the municipality? The floor is open. Go ahead, Councillor.
There was discussion of this at the last Mariner Center board meeting. My opinion, and mine only, is I think this is a great opportunity for us. I'm not sure if it's something we want to do on our own or even maybe partner up with the town, but I could see us doing our own ad, some type of sponsorship. I mean, we don't have many of these guys or girls, and I'm not slighting anybody. We got Ali Monroe's about to head over to Stockholm, Sweden to play professional hockey, so I think it's, you know, it's great for our area. I would be in support of some type of sponsorship. As to what end, I don't know, and I would be open to suggestions.
There's different levels in there. One is for full page, half page, and quarter page, and so on. So the floor is open for discussion on, as Councillor Allen has stated, it's a great opportunity. It would be a great opportunity for the municipality to showcase ourselves with a full page. But Councillor Cushion, you have the floor.
I also want to make sure that we don't forget Ryan Graves also, like, you know, he signed with the Avalanche again this year, so, so there's another, you know, we are producing some top athletes, so.
So what would be the wishes of council? Did you want to wade in?
So I can remind council that you do have resources to participate in this type of activity in a meaningful way. So in our operating budget, there is a PR line for council. So there are monies assigned to public relations activities for council, and there is an advertising as a budget as well. And in the package that we received from the Mariner Center with information about the awards the induction ceremony and who's in the room and who gets this package, it's a huge corporate audience that comes to this event. And my thought would be, it would be a great opportunity to have a full page ad, color full page ad, and make a reference to our business park and the development opportunities in the municipality while we're congratulating Jody for his induction. That comes with, you know, that's a static item for $1,000 that never goes away.
Councillor Cunningham, you have the floor.
So I guess given that Mr. Shelley has had such an illustrious career, certainly played in the NHL, comes from Yarmouth, and for all the reasons also that our CAO's outlined, I'd move that we go with the full page ad and is circulated.
Second.
Been moved by Councillor Cunningham, seconded by Councillor Durkey. Was there any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded, motion carried. I think it's a great opportunity for ourselves, for the town, for Argyle, but I think it's great for Mr. Shelley to, to be inducted. He's done a lot, and yes, he is. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. He's not playing hockey any longer, but he's still working very hard at supporting the area. 7.8, 2020, the IIHF Women's...
Mr. Warden, did you skip an item?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, I apologize, my little arrow was down one, yeah. 7.7, ferry service, I apologize. We don't have one. Sorry. Let me gain my composure. Item 7.7, ferry service. What is the discussion of council? What would you like to discuss? Go ahead, Councillor Cunningham.
Well, I mean, I think that perhaps we could think a little bit about, because there are certainly impacts, economic impacts, obviously, for the area. It's well documented in the newspapers, and we know from talking to folks, and we know because of the lack of traffic, obviously brought on by the cessation of the ferry service. It would be good to come up with some things that certainly we could advocate for. And just off the top of my head, one might be that we look at advocating for temporary air service from the northeastern United States to bring some people in while the ferry's not operating. I mean, those are some of the things that certainly we could ask for. Is there a possibility that YASTA could be provided with some additional funding to put on a series of events between now and the end of the ferry service, to fill some of the hotel rooms that are vacant? Because from what I'm hearing, there are some issues with the number of folks that have canceled room nights. So in any event, I think maybe that we do that, and perhaps what we could do is invite Mr. Churchill to come and speak with council and see how we could, or speak with the warden, and perhaps the warden contact Mr. Churchill and see how we may help, or what YASTA might do to help the tourism industry in Southwest Nova Scotia this year.
I did put out an invitation to our MLA, but to come this evening and so on, but Minister Churchill is in BC at a conference. I can't remember on which, I think it was on education or something, but so he couldn't make it, but I had asked. Councillor Durkee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to mention that I believe it was today that YASTA put out a kind of a press release with regards to staycations and encouraging people from the area to participate in some of the experiences that we have to offer. I think we need to really promote shopping local right now. If we could encourage people to stay here and do their shopping as opposed to going to the city or ordering online, and that everybody has to understand that all businesses are suffering because we don't have the 50,000 new people arriving in Yarmouth County. My understanding is also from other areas that they are experiencing some slow business this year, and the only positive I can say is that there's no question that we need ferry service, and I think we can look at people from around the province, in certain sections of the province, to support that service in future.
Is there any further comment? Go ahead.
To augment what Councillor Durkee said, I know YASTA has been extremely nimble this year. So the plans that YASTA had laid for marketing and promotions relied heavily on leveraging the ferry service and their relationship with Bay Ferries. And because we are in the situation we're in, I find that the board and the staff at YASTA responded well. So for example, we have YASTA staff on the Fundy Rose Ferry directing visitors to our region, where ordinarily they would have been on the Cat Ferry. The digital marketing dollars that YASTA has in their budget, they very quickly worked with their service providers, and they pivoted that strategy, and this staycation piece is part of that, to make sure that we're targeting less in northeastern USA because of our ferry situation, and more in Ontario and Quebec and HRM, to draw people from HRM to our region. So kudos to YASTA for being responsive and nimble in a situation like this.
It was once said that if you visit a town or go somewhere, you are a tourist, even within Nova Scotia. If you're a Nova Scotian and you travel to Lunenburg, you are a tourist. And for YASTA to start and to reach out is a good thing, because there's a lot of people, and they've done surveys before, and they've taken people and asked them if they've ever been to Yarmouth. Some people in Halifax didn't even know where Yarmouth was. And that includes, even if you go to Cape Breton, there's people from Cape Breton that have never been here. But I've been to the Cabot Trail a couple of times. I've been to Sydney. I've been to Halifax and so on. But there's a lot of people that, you know, they do traveling. They go down as far as Kentville. They go to Truro. They'll go to Amherst. They'll go to Moncton and so on. But they don't seem to want to come to Yarmouth. And so, yeah, any type of advertising that we can do to support. I do like Councillor Cunningham's thought there on a charter service flying would be a great thing, and it would be something to, I will jaunt off to Minister Churchill tomorrow, another email asking when he gets back if he can meet with me and the CAO, and I know, just put it on the table. If you don't ask, you don't receive, but to ask that question. We do have an airport. We do have customs still working here and so on. So, you know, and it may be a golden opportunity to work something out, golf packages, whatever, and so on, to try to entice people to come. So on. Was there any further discussion on the ferry? Hearing none, then I'll move on to 7.8, the 2020 IIHF Women's World Champions pre-competition per request for a letter of support. You have that complete package there before you, what that would entail, but what they're looking for as of at this moment is a letter of support to move forward. Go ahead, Councillor Allen.
Well, as I've stated before, I'm a sports fan anyway. But Women's World Hockey Championships, and we may have a chance to get some pre-games or pre-competition here. So I think I'd like to make a motion that we send a letter of support or provide a letter of support to host a 2020 IIHF pre-game or pre-competition. Yeah.
Been moved by Councillor Allen, seconded by Councillor Cushion. No further discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded, motion carried. If you, when you read down through that information, you see there where Hockey Canada will be one of the people or one of the organizations that will be choosing the places. And I'm not saying that we'll get it or not, because there's probably quite a few within Nova Scotia that'll probably be vying for these. But when Hockey Canada was here with the World Junior A's, and I had the opportunity at that time to have a lot of discussion with them, they couldn't find at that time a better place than Yarmouth. The hospitality and the organizational skills that were put in place for those, and to have them 2 years in a row, we were the first area to ever have 2 years in a row. So, Jose, so my hopes are that we will more than qualify for this. It'll give us a grand opportunity again, and so on. So, moving into item number 8, where are the reports? You have those in your package. 8.1, Mariner Center Management Authority. I don't know if Councillor Allen, you have anything that you wish to report, or go ahead?
Not a lot. You have already mentioned Ribfest came and went. I think it was a big success. We have a few little issues to deal with as far as the grounds. But traffic control, I don't know if anyone's been out there lately. There was talk about looking into getting speed bumps, and I believe that our manager, Gil Dares, has moved ahead and actually got them and has had them installed. There was a lot of vehicles that were traveling from Jody Shelley Drive to the Haley Road and going through pretty quick, and you know, it's a safety issue. We've got a lot of kids that are coming out of that rink that are excited about playing hockey, and we need to slow down the vehicles, so. Other than that, we probably have another one coming up in a couple of weeks, another meeting.
Yeah. I heard the report on Radio CJLS that cars seem to be stopping now and slowing down because of the increase in the speed bump, whatever.
It's quite a big one. You're not gonna go over that fast.
Is that right? Well, yeah. Well, no, even if, once you stop and you go over it, you still notice it, so, I mean, that's good. Yeah, yeah,
Preventative maintenance, as far as I'm concerned.
yeah.
It's a safety issue, and the last thing we
Yeah.
want is an accident out there involving anyone, but especially children.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Thank you very much. The Regional Solid Waste Authority, there's been no meeting. Western County Regional Library, Councillor Durkee.
Yes, there was a meeting. I was unavailable to give it in the last report since I wasn't here. It was the annual general meeting. The budget was presented. There's consideration of Friends of the Library, and very quickly there'll be a fundraiser. The food Dining in the Stacks will be this year, so we're encouraging people to participate in that as a fundraiser. And of course, we're still waiting for the budget to come down from the province to finally look at improving the funding model for the library services.
Okay, thank you. The Western Regional Enterprise Network, REN's Liaison and Oversight Committee, again, Councillor Durkee.
That's me again, sorry. Let's see, we just had a very quick meeting. We talked about wanting the province to get a multi-year agreement to fund the REN. And we talked about looking at the agreement among the we have a number of municipalities involved in that. And we talked about an energy study with a heat map that has been done in the area. And we had a discussion on the Municipal Energy Trust and looking at partnering on projects, and the next meeting is in January. And Councillor Cunningham, you were online. Was there anything else in particular that?
You did a wonderful job presenting all of
Okay,
that.
thank you, done.
Thank you. Yarmouth Area Industrial Commission, Councillor Cushion, were you able to go? I wasn't able to go to the last meeting.
Yes, I was there, and
Turn your mic on, yeah, go ahead.
yes, I was there, and I think the main discussion was around the medical centers again, I believe, and that's generally about it, right? There is some issues that there have to be addressed at a later date, but yeah,
Yep.
so that's about
Okay.
it.
Thank you. Yarmouth and Acadia Shores Tourist Association? No report. Yarmouth County Solid Waste Park, I was not able to attend the last emergency meeting that they had. Councillor Cushion, was you, that was to discuss, I believe, I was in Halifax, that they had changed the date. I'm trying to think of, go ahead.
Yeah, I think there was some discussion around, hey, I can talk now. There was some discussion around how the allowable waste per household is coming
200
in,
kg, yeah.
and how contractors are kind of abusing, the smaller contractors are kind of abusing this type of policy we have in place, sort of thing, right? So they're clamping down on that, which is good. They had one irate contractor who was, pretty adamant that he was, he really wasn't a contractor, but he came in several times. But anyway, it's firming up things, which is good. So I think they're heading down in a positive way, so, which is good.
Yarmouth International Airport Corp. We had a meeting and went over a few of the thoughts of the airport and had discussion on the agreement that the CAOs are working on. And as we're all well aware, we have a meeting tomorrow morning at 9:30 with the 3 joint councils to discuss that. Advisory, the audit committee, there's been no meeting. The CAO committee, there's been no meeting. Doctor recruitment and retention, I'm not sure it's, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Councillor.
Always having meetings. No, it's all good. The chamber's moving forward with the hiring of the community navigator, so they are working right now. The competition is closed, and they had a number of applicants, and there's an LOC meeting being put together to oversee, to liaise between the municipalities and the Chamber of Commerce, but they are moving forward with hiring, so that's very exciting. We had a really good discussion about the governance of our College of Physicians and looking at who makes some of those decisions about incoming doctors from other countries, and what are the guidelines, and so we're looking at bringing down Gus Grant, who is the director, and having a chat with him to kind of really learn how the process is done. We are having some success with hiring. There is someone on the way, another anesthesiologist is coming. This was as a result of the Calgary conference. And then there's a couple of other people who are considering coming, and I believe they're going to be coming down for a visit soon. And then just on the QT, we can announce that there are some psychiatrists that are on the way as well.
Councillor Allen.
Just a question, Councillor Durkee. As far as the new community navigator position, they've closed that? It's ready to go. Did all the funding come in? Can you tell me?
Some funding hasn't been.
Oh, I'm sorry.
There is some funding that has been approved but not publicly announced yet. So it's going really well, and Barrington just approved $10,000 this year, and they'll review it again next year. So they're doing extremely well with funding, and they haven't even reached out to the corporate companies yet for it. So it's going well. A lot of things one of the things that I should talk about is just the networking is pretty amazing to help make things happen, such as, when a doctor is coming, then people are really working hard to make sure that there is a residence in place for them to move into, even temporarily till they find what they want to do. So I also want cars are being offered to new people coming in as well. We have to remember that if it's someone coming from away, that the loan agreements with banks are much different here than they are with whatever country they're coming from. So sometimes it takes quite a while for things to be set in place. So companies are being really helpful in providing transportation for now, or directing people to someone who will help them in the meantime. I have huge kudos to Carrie because she's been acting as a volunteer and trying to coordinate all of the activities going on with the person a new person coming here. So she's looking forward to getting back to her own business by having someone else in place. But it's really positive. And also there are other people, like connections to looking at for residents, for example, trying to help them find apartments, and that's going quite well as well. There have been meetings with the residents, like a meet and greet. Pam Mood and I went and did a little meet and greet with the residents, and they were asking lots of questions about things to do here, so we connected them with Frank. Somebody wanted to go surfing, so we found there's a new surf booth set up at Mavelet, so sent the information to Shirley Watson Poole, who oversees the residents. So all of those little things, we're really trying to make people aware of what's going on in our community. So it's really neat.
Councillor Cushion, you had a question? Do you?
Oh, no.
Okay, okay. EMO Executive Committee, there hasn't been a meeting as per se. I know we're working on a REMO thing. Is that any further forward?
So that is actually at a point where the Town of Yarmouth CAO is taking the lead on having legal take what we've negotiated and turn it into an agreement for the councils to approve. So hopefully by October, November, we'll have something.
Yeah, yes, I would hope, because it is an organization that you never want to use. And basically, we have not been having any, because we're looking at the REMO model and to move forward. I know that we are prepared and so on, but sometimes, you know, just a get-together again, just to refresh and give us the confidence again that we are. But if it's going to be this fall, appreciate that. Heritage Advisory Committee, was there anything? Joint Energy Committee, Joint Green Energy? Oh. The Marketing Promotions Levy Advisory? Go ahead, Councillor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We had a meeting last week, as a matter of fact, and this meeting is, I'm one of the representatives from the municipality, but the other three are hotel, motel owners. And let me tell you, they're really nervous. The numbers are down a considerable amount. And the big problem is that now it's created an inconsistency again. You know, they were doing really well, being full a number of nights. I'll give you an example. The car show, usually those nights, because of the combinations of tourists coming in on the ferry and all the car show attendants, they were usually sold out, but they actually had a few rooms together, although in the end, the Grand did end up selling out, which was wonderful news. But they're concerned for the future and the fact that, you know, with the numbers being down, how much contribution will there be to the actual MPLAC account, and will there be enough money to pay the same amount as the other partners for YASTA next year? And then because of that inconsistency, what's going to happen next year? Like, we don't know. There's so much unknown, and the concern again with you know, the Colony being redone and another hotel going up. So they're pretty worried, and all we can do is hope for the best.
Thank you. Find it here. PAC meeting, Councillor Cushion, Councillor Durkee, do you remember any of the? Go ahead, Councillor.
Sure, and correct me if I make any errors there, Councillor Cushing, but we did have a meeting and we discussed the prime transmission, because there was a letter from a local
President.
person in the community who was concerned of a number of things. And one of those concerns, I think we'll be readdressing that at the next PAC meeting, because the individual was not able to be there. And we also talked about some rezoning with our planning. Did I miss anything?
Oh, got it. Thank you. Yarmouth County Joint Police Advisory, I don't believe there's been any meeting. Yarmouth Recreation Committee. Councillor Cunningham, go ahead.
No meeting, one plan for the fall to be announced.
Okay. Ad hoc, the Ames Network Asset Management. Go ahead, Councillor.
Yes, that's still on the go sort of thing. I believe there's a meeting coming up in September, and the CAO and I will be jointly working on on a presentation. So look forward to that. But it's the further we go into it, the more value we're getting out of it. So very good. So.
Go ahead.
If I could just add to Councillor Cushing's comments. So I'm not sure if you picked up on what he said, but Councillor Cushing and I will be doing a presentation together in Halifax at Asset Management Awareness Day. And we were approached by the Atlantic Infrastructure Management Network to do that because of our participation in the cohort. And in addition to that, Liz and I will be going to Newfoundland, and we will be presenting at an Atlantic Canadian conference on our experience in the cohort. So Liz is a trooper. She's going to be with me. We are going to be presenting on the importance of people in an asset management program and in a culture of asset management in an organization. One thing Modi has been noted for in the cohorts clear across the country is the size of our team. So I intentionally built a big team because asset management is a huge change in the culture in the organization, and having the directors understand the implications of good asset management for now and for in the future was critical in changing the culture in Modi. And Councillor Cushing has been a terrific support in terms of indicating that from a political perspective, they understand the implications and how far-reaching asset management is. So it's a little bit nerve-wracking to be presenting on a topic that you're new to, and you know, we're framing our presentation around that. You know, we're new to this discipline, but we are impacted about how important it is. And then the other thing I'll say is that with the last meeting in the program coming in September, the draft policy will be coming back to council for us to take a look at exactly how we want that to look for our organization.
Go ahead, Councillor Cushing.
I'm not quite sure if council knows or not that our recreation director, Frank Grant, made a presentation at the last one. And so it was good. And as our CEO was saying, we do have a big group, but like she said, all the department heads are there, and they're all having input. They're all taking part. They're all, you know, networking. I guess Councillor Durgay had mentioned about her recruitment one there, right? So the same idea. There's a lot of good networking, and we're seeing how other municipalities in towns who are also into it, into this program, how they are moving along. And of course, you're always listening, and maybe you might be able to steal an idea from here and there, right? So which is it's amazing, really.
Well, I guess the one thing I'd like to say is I'm pleased to hear that when people are asked to make presentations, it's usually a sign that they've been recognized for their work on a project or on something of this magnitude for municipal units and so on. So I guess my one question is, as I've stated before, I knew it was going to be a lot of work and a lot of time commitment and so on. I'm not asking for a deadline, but is there a timeline that you hope to have, or this might be, I'll say, finally implemented or in a working, or is it just going to be a slow integration and it'll go forward from there? Or is this council still going to be the setting council, or are we going to have an election, before it's implemented?
I'll jump in, Councillor Cushing, and you fill in. So absolutely, the policy adoption will be by this council, and how quickly we implement that policy, how quickly we're able to implement that policy will depend on the results of our final report. So what are our gaps at the end of it? You know, what are our gaps? And they're big.
Yeah.
And they're big. And as I said, that this is a culture shift in the organization, so it will be about creating competency in the organization for having an asset management program. So we've got to have a champion, a person to actually manage the program for us. And then to create asset management as a piece of the day-to-day business function in every department. So it's going to take time. It will become as important as doing our operating budget.
Go ahead, Councillor.
One more comment then. The workshop that's coming up in September, and then our CAO and Liz going to Newfoundland is really going to be, is really going to start tightening that knot up to, that we can start hoisting things on it, right? So it is a big project, and again, I just can't say enough of how well our municipality is participating in this, and I'll keep referring back to it. Once we have this in place in a working document, how effective it's going to be in our budgets.
Yeah.
It's, I picked that up just as soon as I seen what was going on there, right? And it's going to be very important and very helpful, and there shouldn't be really too many big surprises.
Yeah, thank you very much. Fence Arbitration Committee, I don't think we've had any meetings or had to have a meeting because of fencing issue. Municipal alcohol project, Councillor Cushion, no.
There's nothing really, we haven't had a meeting of late, but I do know there's a new person hired to replace Larry Phillips, and I believe we'll be having something coming, meeting started again in September. So looking forward to that. I think that group has done a good job to date, and all the monies that the province and the feds said they were going to get to help with making sure this all goes along. I don't think we've seen too much of it yet. So, but.
Okay. The last, item number 9 is in-camera recommendations. Councillor Cunningham, go ahead.
So I'll move the approval of the contract between Municipality District of Yarmouth and Graham Construction Limited for the construction of a 3,121 square foot expansion of the Hebron Maintenance Shed to be completed between the dates of July 29th, 2019 and January 31st, 2020. And the contract price, excluding HST, is $575,400. With the HST, which is 15%, added on, that's the amount. The amount of that's $86,310 for a total price of $667,710. And certainly it's a fantastic project, local contractor. It makes use of an existing building, expands existing building, and also brings two departments together, recreation and our operations department. So that's fantastic, and that project supplants the new building project that was on the books. And so really, I think we're getting, dare I say it, more for less. So I think it's a great project. It's a win all the way around, and it fulfills a need that council certainly recognized a number of years ago. So I'm very pleased to recommend that as a motion.
Been moved by Councillor Trevor Cunningham, seconded by Councillor Allen. Was there any further discussion? Yes.
Was
Go
I
ahead.
could have misheard you, but did you say 667? Because it is 661, right?
661,710.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. I thought you said 667, because I can hear better now.
I think you heard the arrow, so you are correct. I apologize.
Councillor LeBlanc, go ahead.
Yes, I'm happy to see that finally the Public Works is going to get somewhere to to work on their vehicles because, you know, they had to work outside for many years and fix their vehicles when they broke down. I'm just wondering if somebody can answer, while they're building, the completion is January the 20th, will the Public Works Department be able to use the building before that?
I don't anticipate operations before there's a final release from the contractor.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay, thank you.
So we have a mover and a seconder. Was there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded? Motion carried. Thank you very much. And we're looking for one more. Councillor Durkee, go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion that the municipality of the District of Yarmouth proceed to direct staff with an order to remedy PID number 901180001.
Okay, been moved by Councillor Durkee. Do we have a seconder for that? Seconded by Councillor LeBlanc. Was there any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded? Motion carried. It's not on your agenda, and it's just before adjournment. And I'm going to be asking the public, because I know this is, people are going to watch and so on in the near future. My email address is leland@district.yarmouth.ns.ca. I've had some residents in touch with me asking about speed signs and so on different roads. And they're finding that traffic is traveling a little too fast. So I took a drive, went on the road. I took my wife with me, and I looked for speed signs. And if you're going slow enough below the normal speed limit, you will happen to notice the speed sign in behind the brush of a tree. Okay, that's great. So coming the other way, again with my wife watching, there was the 4x4 or 6x6 pole, no speed sign on it. Okay, that's fine. And as I drove down the road, I did happen to see a speed sign right at the end. It's not covered, but it's in the shadows of more spruce trees. So what I'm asking the public to do is to please send me pictures of any road sign, whether it's half up, half down, not in good shape, missing or whatever. Please send it to me, because I am going to make a file that I wish to present to TIR about the deplorable state of road signs in our municipality. Now, I don't know if you folks wish to comment on that or not, but that is, other than that, I'm looking for a motion to adjourn. Thank you.